Imagine this. Your own son invites everyone to his wedding, except you. Every relative, every friend, everyone but not you. Now, picture the shock when someone completely unexpected walks him down the aisle. Yes, it happened to me. Hi, I'm Emily, and today I'm sharing one of the most emotional and unexpected moments of my life. Weddings are supposed to be filled with joy, love, and family, but mine turned into a story of heartbreak, surprise, and ultimately a lesson about love and forgiveness. Stay with me, because what happened next might just leave you speechless. It all began when my son announced he was getting married. At first, I was filled with excitement and joy. I pictured the wedding day in my mind, the beautiful decorations, the laughter of family and friends, and most importantly, the pride and happiness of walking my son down the aisle. I imagined the moment I would see him in his suit, nervous but thrilled, and how I would hold his hand and support him as he took one of the biggest steps in his life. For weeks, I waited for the invitation, envisioning it arriving in the mail or being handed to me personally. I imagined reading it and feeling that surge of love and anticipation that every parent feels when they see their child reaching a milestone. But then the invitations were sent out, and mine never came. At first I thought maybe it was a mistake, perhaps lost in the mail or accidentally overlooked. I asked casually, hoping he would laugh it off and hand me the invitation with a smile. But the truth slowly became undeniable. I wasn't included. The weight of that realization hit me harder than I could have anticipated. I went over the guest list in my mind, thinking of all the people who had been invited, friends, relatives, colleagues, and with each name I read, my heart sank a little further. Everyone mattered to him, it seemed, everyone but me. The pain wasn't just in being left out, it was in the message it seemed to send. How could my own child, the one I had raised, nurtured, and loved unconditionally, not want me there for one of the most important days of his life? I started questioning myself, wondering if I had done something wrong, something to push him away. I replayed every conversation, every disagreement, every misunderstanding we had ever had, looking for clues, looking for a reason that could explain such a shocking exclusion. The hurt was compounded by the sense of invisibility. It was as if all the years of care, guidance, and love had been wiped away, replaced by a distance I couldn't understand. It wasn't just disappointment, it was heartbreak. I felt like a stranger in the life of my own child. I struggled to hide my emotions from friends and family, trying to act composed while inside, a storm of sadness and confusion raged. How do you come to terms with being excluded from something so monumental? It felt surreal, almost like a scene from a movie where everything is upside down. The people I expected to celebrate with me, the people I had imagined sharing this special day with, were all included, but I was left on the outside looking in. Despite the pain, I tried to remind myself to stay calm and not act impulsively. I didn't want to let anger or resentment take over, even though every instinct screamed at me to confront him immediately. I needed time to process this rejection, to understand what it really meant and how I should respond. The initial shock slowly turned into a quiet determination. I wanted to be there for my son, no matter what, even if it meant attending as a silent observer. That lingering hope, the faint belief that something unexpected could still happen, became the anchor that carried me through the days leading up to his wedding. The days after discovering I wasn't invited to my son's wedding were some of the hardest I've ever faced. At first, I tried to convince myself that it might just be a misunderstanding or a temporary decision he would later regret. But as reality settled in, the feelings of hurt and betrayal became impossible to ignore. Each morning I woke up with a heavy heart, the thought of the celebration going on without me weighing down every moment. I found myself replaying memories of his childhood, the first time he rode a bike, the nights spent comforting him when he was sick, the countless milestones and achievements we had shared, and wondering how all of that could be seemingly erased by a single act of exclusion. It was as though all the love and effort I had poured into raising him suddenly didn't matter, and that thought alone was heartbreaking. I tried to keep busy, throwing myself into daily routines, errands, and work, but no distraction could fill the void. Even simple things reminded me of what I was missing: the sound of wedding bells, friends sharing their wedding stories, or the photos and videos of family gatherings. Everywhere I looked, I saw couples, families, and celebrations, and I couldn't help but feel the emptiness of being left out of what should have been my own son's happiest day. I felt invisible, as though my role as his mother had been diminished, and that sense of invisibility cut deeper than any words could describe. I questioned everything. Did I fail as a parent? Was there something I hadn't done right? The self-doubt was relentless, gnawing at me day and night. The emotional struggle wasn't limited to my own heart, it spilled into my interactions with others. Friends and relatives noticed my silence, my quiet moments of introspection, and they tried to comfort me. Some said, maybe he just made a mistake, or perhaps it's not personal, but their words barely reached me. How do you console someone who feels rejected by their own child? How do you accept that a bond you thought unbreakable can suddenly feel so fragile? The mixture of sadness, confusion, and anger was overwhelming. I vacillated between wanting to confront him directly and needing to withdraw completely, unsure of which choice would bring peace. Some days, tears came unbidden and I let them flow, acknowledging the pain instead of pushing it away. Other days, I held myself together, forcing a smile, all the while feeling the ache of being on the outside of a life I had helped shape. In the quiet moments, I realized the struggle was not just about being left out of the wedding. It was about feeling a shift in the relationship I had always believed was secure. The love between a parent and child is deep, but it is not immune to hurt. This period of emotional turmoil became a test of patience, resilience, and self-reflection. To confront the uncomfortable truth that love sometimes comes with disappointment, and that family bonds can be strained, even when both sides care deeply. Slowly, I began to focus on understanding my son's perspective, trying to see beyond the initial shock, and searching for the compassion to hold space for both my own pain and his choices. Through this struggle, I learned that heartbreak doesn't always have to lead to bitterness. While I was devastated, I also realized that navigating the storm of emotions with grace and patience was essential, not just for my relationship with my son, but for my own well-being. It was a painful journey, but it was also a journey toward clarity, strength, and the quiet hope that, somehow, the bond we shared could still find a path forward. As the wedding day approached, I felt a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside me: pain, anticipation, confusion, and even a quiet glimmer of hope. Despite the hurt, I couldn't bring myself to stay away completely. My love for my son was too strong, and the thought of missing one of the most important days of his life was unbearable. So, I made a decision I never imagined I would make. I would attend quietly, without confrontation, without fanfare, simply to be present. I told myself that even if I was on the outside looking in, I still wanted to witness this milestone, because in the end, it was his day, and my love for him outweighed my own feelings of rejection. That morning, I prepared myself carefully, choosing a simple, elegant outfit that would allow me to blend in, almost invisible among the guests. As I left home, I felt a strange mix of anxiety and resolve. Every step toward the venue felt like walking on a tightrope between heartbreak and hope. I arrived early, finding a quiet corner where I could observe without drawing attention. The room buzzed with excitement, friends chatting, family members laughing, the gentle clinking of glasses, and the soft strains of the prelude music. Everywhere I looked, there were smiling faces and joyful anticipation, and yet a quiet ache remained in my heart, the pain of knowing I was not expected there. I watched the guests take their seats, imagining what was going through my son's mind. Was he aware of my presence? Did he regret not including me? Or had he moved forward so completely that my absence no longer mattered to him? Each passing minute was a battle between hope and fear. I found myself breathing in the atmosphere, letting the music, the decor, and the happiness around me wash over me, even as a small part of me felt like a spectator in a story that should have been mine to fully participate in. And then the moment came when the ceremony began. I could feel the shift in energy, the collective anticipation in the room. The doors opened and everyone turned to watch the entrance. I held my breath, unsure of what I would see, and that was when the unexpected happened. A twist I could never have predicted. Someone walked down the aisle who I had never imagined taking my place. Someone whose presence completely changed the dynamics of the day. It wasn't just a surprise for me, it was a surprise for everyone, including my son. The shock, the emotion, and the poignancy of that moment filled the room in a way that made the entire ceremony unforgettable. In that instant, I realized that life has a way of turning expectations upside down. Even when things feel unfair or hurtful, there can be moments of unexpected grace and revelation. Watching my son being guided down the aisle by someone else was bittersweet. It reminded me that while I may not have been part of the plan he envisioned, I was still there, witnessing love, growth, and family in a way that would forever shape my understanding of relationships. It was a quiet, powerful lesson. Sometimes being present, even silently, can bring clarity, healing, and perspective that nothing else can. The moment that truly stunned everyone in the room, and me most of all, came when the music swelled and the ceremony officially began. My son appeared, dressed in his suit, nervous yet glowing with the excitement and anticipation that weddings always bring. I expected the familiar figure of a parent, a close family member, or even a lifelong mentor to walk him down the aisle. But as he waited, the doors opened, and the person who emerged completely defied everyone's expectations. It wasn't me, and it wasn't anyone I had anticipated. Instead, it was someone who had a quiet, profound connection with him. A figure whose presence spoke volumes of love, guidance, and support. The room collectively held its breath, the air thick with surprise, emotion, and an almost tangible sense of awe. Seeing him walk with this unexpected companion, I felt a swirl of emotions. There was shock, yes, but also relief in an unexpected way. Relief that he wasn't alone, that someone he trusted and cared about deeply was supporting him in this monumental moment. My initial hurt was still there, but it mingled with a strange, almost comforting feeling that life can offer redemption and surprises, even in situations that initially seem painful. Watching my son, whose choices had left me feeling excluded, being guided down the aisle by this unexpected figure, I realized that sometimes life orchestrates events in ways we don't fully understand at the time. It was a reminder that love and support can come from places we might not expect, and that family, in its broader sense, often transcends our personal expectations. The emotions in the room were electric. Guests whispered, some teared up, and the look on my son's face was a mix of gratitude, nervousness, and awe. I realized then that weddings aren't just about tradition. They are about emotion, connection, and the people who make those connections meaningful. In that moment, the ceremony became bigger than me, bigger than the hurt I had been carrying. It was a shared experience, a tapestry of relationships, surprises, and heartfelt support. I felt my heart swell with a mixture of love and understanding, knowing that the bond between a parent and child isn't always defined by rituals alone, but by presence, intention, and resilience. As he continued down the aisle, I noticed the subtle glances exchanged between him and his unexpected companion, silent acknowledgments of trust, encouragement, and familial love. It struck me that family isn't always about who we expect. Sometimes it's about who steps up in critical moments, offering strength and care when it's needed most. My initial pain softened, replaced by a sense of perspective. While I wasn't the one walking him down the aisle, I was witnessing a powerful act of love and support, and I could be present for it, quietly rooting for him from my place in the room. That day taught me that life can surprise us in ways that challenge our expectations, forcing us to confront hurt, pride, and disappointment, but also revealing the beauty of unexpected kindness and connection. It was a lesson in humility, resilience, and the unpredictable nature of love. Seeing my son guided by someone else reminded me that, even when we feel excluded, love still surrounds us, sometimes in ways we might never have imagined. The ceremony became a turning point, not just for him, but for me, a moment of realization that life's most poignant lessons often arrive wrapped in the unexpected. As the ceremony continued and the wedding unfolded, I found myself reflecting on everything that had happened. The hurt of being excluded, the shock of seeing someone else walk my son down the aisle, and the flood of emotions that had accompanied each moment. It was in these reflections that the true lesson of the day began to reveal itself. Life doesn't always go as we plan, and relationships, even the closest ones, can sometimes take unexpected turns. I realized that my initial feelings of anger and betrayal, though valid, were only part of the story. Beyond them lay a deeper understanding. That love is not about control, expectation, or rigid roles. It is about connection, forgiveness, and presence. Even when circumstances challenge us, watching my son exchange vows, surrounded by friends, family, and the support of someone who had stepped into the moment in a profound way, I felt a quiet shift in my heart. The pain didn't disappear completely, but it softened. I recognized that relationships evolve, and sometimes stepping back allows space for healing, growth, and perspective. What initially felt like rejection became an opportunity to witness love in its many forms, to appreciate the people who step up in times of need, and to understand that family isn't always defined by tradition or expectation. It's defined by care, support, and presence, however unexpected it might be. I also realized that forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools we can possess. Holding on to resentment would only deepen the wound, but opening my heart allowed me to see the bigger picture. My son's choices, though painful to me, were part of his journey, and they didn't erase the years of love and guidance we had shared. In fact, they reminded me that love can sometimes mean stepping back, allowing others to shine in roles we might have imagined for ourselves, and finding peace in the knowledge that the bond between parent and child is resilient, even when tested. By the time the ceremony ended, I felt a sense of closure and a newfound clarity. I had witnessed an event that at first seemed like heartbreak, yet had transformed into a lesson in humility, resilience, and the unpredictability of life. I understood that the most meaningful moments aren't always the ones we control. They are the ones that teach us to adapt, to embrace the unexpected, and to cherish the depth of connection that exists even in surprising circumstances. The experience reminded me that love is not about ownership or position. It's about being present, offering support when it matters, and finding joy in the happiness of those we care for, even if it comes in ways we didn't anticipate. Walking away from that wedding, I carried a sense of peace and a deeper understanding of life and family. The day had been a mosaic of emotions, hurt, surprise, joy, and reflection, but above all, it had been a testament to the enduring power of love. It reminded me that life's most profound lessons often arrive in moments we least expect, and that the ability to forgive, to adapt, and to see love beyond our own expectations is what allows us to grow and thrive. In the end, what mattered most wasn't the pain of exclusion. It was the capacity to embrace the unexpected, celebrate the love around us, and carry forward with a heart open to life's beautiful, unpredictable journey.